Welcome to the Real Retirees of New Jersey, powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. Randy and Peggy Fisher want to help you retire once and retire right. Get more information at therealretireesofnewjersey.com. They never throw the first punch, but they're always a knockout.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. But most importantly, thanks for listening. This is the Real Retirees of New Jersey podcast with Peggy and Randy Fisher. It's all powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. You can get more when you visit therealretireesofnewjersey.com. You can find that and all the information here in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. I want to spend a couple of minutes here talking about the families that you serve. And let's start at the very beginning. If you had to paint a picture of the perfect client that you're trying to help as they head towards retirement,
I would have to say, Mark, that I don't think we really qualify anyone just totally like this is our avatar, for the most part. But if I had to say, who do we help the best or who do we help the most or who do we see the most, we probably see the couple sometimes between 50 and 70 years old that are either right before retirement, right in retirement, and they have basically the same fears as almost everybody else does. The two biggest fears that they have is, number one, losing money, and number two, not having enough or running out of it, right? So those are the two biggest fears in the meetings that we have where people, divulge to us that keeps them up at night. And what we try to tell people is, listen, a lot of our advice and a lot of the strategies in which we do and we implore throughout our entire planning basically will help you subside those two fears, because those are the two things that we want to concentrate on the most. As well as others. And we can get into taxes and inflation. We can get into all those other items. But the two biggest things that people want to know is they have enough money and it's going to last the rest of their life, right? Yeah. So those are the two things that are there. The second thing is, and I always say this with a little bit of a grain of salt, you can't help people who have nothing, right? So, if you came to us and said, I have, I'm 60 years old, I want to retire tomorrow, and I have not a dollar, I'm not magic. So we can't actually just perform this, miracle that instantaneously we're going to make all your dreams come true because you walk through our front door. You have to have a little bit of something before you get started, right? Whether it's a 401k rollover or IRAs, or you had to have something. I'd always tell this story. We have clients that literally call us disaster recovery specialists, because what we've done is we've basically helped people pick up their pieces from market meltdown disasters and bad advice in which they've gotten from other advisors. And that's probably one of the best ways that you can describe what our practice is all about. It's really about picking up the pieces and putting them all back together like Humpty Dumpty to make sure that you're going to be able to sit on the wall for the rest of your life.
I like that you said that you said couples between the ages of 50 and 70. Do you focus towards, at Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisor, do you focus towards the couples, or it just happens to be what you get a lot of?
Oh, we absolutely do get a lot of couples, but that's not our only focus. We'll honestly talk to anybody, who is really interested in trying to, see their future down the road with having someone help them get to that perfect retirement place that they want to be, knowing that they have enough money to retire. So that doesn't, you could be a couple, you could be a widow, you could be, anybody who's single. We want to just strive to help someone get to that goal of retiring once and retiring right. That's what we're about here.
We do have a lot of couples that are clients. I would probably, I don't really have favorites, but if I had to say, what are my favorite clients? A lot of my favorite clients literally are a lot of the single women or widows that are out there that really needed a lot of help. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the reason that is, Mark, is because they were through relationships where their husband basically dealt with everything, right? They had the division of labor, right? They stayed at home or they did everything through the house and they took care of kids and grandchildren and everything. And they relied upon their spouse to basically make the financial decisions, which is pretty interesting because when it came to check writing privileges and paying bills, it was always the wife, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to, hey, let's figure out what we're going to need for the future or where the retirement money was going or whatever it was, the wife more or less had a little bit of hands in it, but the guy basically did most of the work.
Right.
Unfortunately, we've come across a lot of people where tragedy happened. The husband basically died, whether suddenly or through a disease or whatever it may happen. And the wife was literally left stumped. Right. And that's why I say, again, picking up the pieces, it's more or less than re-educating and holding hands and making sure things go right and bringing them from point A to point B and making sure that all those dreams and everything else is going to come true, even though they just lost somebody.
And we
Yeah.
have done that, Mark, we have many female clients who have lost husbands. And Randy and I will be literally sitting right across from them and they will bring in, a huge handbag full of bills and insurance policies and all kinds of stuff like that and just dump it on our table and say, please help me. And that's what, as Randy said, that's what we do. We will pick it up. We will help you. We will pick up those pieces for you and get you to where you need to be. Absolutely.
But let me ask you this. You said that if you have nothing, we can't do anything for you. I'm not a magician. But is there a power with so much? Like, do you recommend 500,000 saved for my retirement? Or I've done a pretty good job. I've got 250,000 saved for my retirement. Where do you find that the power really begins to start customizing a plan?
I think it's all relative.
Yeah.
Good.
And we have many tools in our toolbox, Mark. There's plenty of tools in the toolbox to get anybody, with whatever amount that they have, whether it be, a little less or more. We have a lot of tools in the toolbox to get people to where they need to be, as far as getting them to a happy retirement place.
I think the relevancy there is also living within their means. So, I mean, we have people they come to us and they literally have millions and they're trying to scrape together to make two ends meet because they live so high on the hog and they live so above their financial means that they're finding it difficult to get by, right? And that's a tough client to deal with because then that's more expectations of trying to lower down their standard of living, lowering down their expectations of what their extracurricular activities are, things of that nature. And then we come across people that literally have $200,000 and they're happier than a pig in you know what, because they don't spend much money. All their stuff is paid off. They have zero debt. They have a couple bucks worth of Social Security coming through the door, maybe a pension, and they got some savings.
And they're happy.
So it's
Right.
literally managing the expectations to what someone is living within their realm. And that's something that we need to have a great conversation with. We have to make sure that we're actually fitting the right pieces of the puzzle together to make sure that we can make their life fit their retirement.
Everybody's plan is different. Everybody's budget is different. So I schedule that consultation. I'm a little lost. I'm a little confused. I just need some guidance. I come to see you for the very first time and walk me through it as a first timer. What happens in that first consultation with you and the team?
Okay, so we start out when someone comes into our office, Mark, you first are greeted by our wonderful fish in the fish tank. That will make you very calm and happy as you walk through our door.
Used to be in the basement.
So that's usually our first conversation when someone walks through. Ooh, look at those fish. But as you come through, you are greeted with, can I get you a cup of coffee, something to drink? We'll have some nice hot cookies here waiting for you. And we'll just start with some small conversation just to get everybody, comfortable and get started like that. And then what we do tell everybody to come for our first time appointment is bring anything that you think you want us to take a look at, any statements you have, or, anything that you think you want us to look at. It could be an insurance policy. It could be, car insurance, auto insurance. We will take a look at whatever a client wants us to take a look at for them to see if they're going in the right direction.
Some people are a little reserved in the beginning. So when they come in, they really don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And they don't want to throw their cards on the table, for lack of better words, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They kind of feel you out, see if you know what you're talking about, or if that you're going to fit or gel, or you're going to scare the heck out of them. So there are people that literally walk through the door with their arms crossed. They sit down at the table and they're waiting for some magic to happen. And it's a little bit of a discovery process. You have to go through that conversations. And a lot of those times, what we then do is more or less kind of try to break down the barriers between us. And we kind of discuss, hey, how did you make your last decision? What are some of the things you like about your situation? What are some of the items that you don't like about your scenario? Paint me a picture 3 years from now. Where would you like to be?
What we like to do is talk about their fears, their goals, their objectives, where their taxes, where do they want to be in the future, and see a way that we can help propel them to get to where they need to be.
Yeah, it usually migrates back to those 5 fears that people have, or 5 major issues that people normally have throughout retirement. It's the fear of losing money, the fear of not having enough or running out of it, the fear of taxation, the fear of inflation, not having enough purchasing power to buy tomorrow what buys you today. And lastly is a health catastrophe.
Right.
50% chance of someone actually having a health catastrophe. Mark, we have homeowners insurance when you own a home. There is 1 in 3,000 chances that your home is going to burn down. And almost every single person that owns a home has a homeowner's policy.
Yeah.
But everybody who's going into retirement, there's not many people who have long-term care plans or long-term care health plans that are going to ensure that they're not going to wind up in bankruptcy. And let me put that differently. Not that they're going to wind up in bankruptcy or leave them in a hole. It's the spouse who survives is going to wind up in a hole, right? So they have to go through the tragedy of losing a spouse, losing someone that they've taken care of for so long, and all that baggage that comes along with it, and then worrying about how to pick up those pieces later with less money because they just had to spend all those resources on trying to keep that person alive for as long as they possibly could. So that's a big part of our discussion in which we have with people.
I want to go back to something you said a couple of minutes ago. You said in that initial consultation, some people come in with their arms crossed. Why do you think that is? Why are people intimidated about coming to see an advisor, a wealth manager, somebody that's trying to put a plan together? I mean, what's the preconceived notion about this is weird, this is not right? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's them
Money's
divulging.
personal, right?
Yeah, it's personal. I think it's about them divulging, personal information to a stranger and saying, is this person going to be the person who can help me, bring me to a place that I need to be, which is a happy retirement, or a person who's telling me, hey, this is what I have. Please tell me, how can you help me? That's giving a lot of information to a stranger, right? Who you have to trust, with all of your major, most important information that you have, to let them, you help them with a decision that they're going to need to make for the future.
I think it being personal, that most people don't talk about their finances, even with their other family members or even with their friends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most people would rather talk about either religion or politics than talk about money,
Yeah.
right? No one wants to tell you either how much you make or how much you have, right? So when someone walks in the door, the other thing it's a great question, Mark, because here's something else that happens. When they meet with a new person, I think what they're doing is they're reliving the relationship in which they had with either the current advisor that they have or their advisor that actually sent them over the edge seeking new advice, right? So they're almost having like setbacks in their mind or flashbacks and going through the process, and it's a difficult scenario. I read in one article of recent, it said most people would rather go to the dentist than go to a financial advisor.
Oh.
And the reason that is because they really don't want to divulge what they have or what's even more important, what they don't have or the mistakes in which they've made, because they don't want to divulge that to anybody to say, I was wrong, or look at the things that I did silly.
Right. Yes.
It's a tough thing to overcome.
Yeah, and we've all made mistakes. And that's all. You almost kind of have to play therapist with people.
We are.
We are true therapists.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
A lot of people may be better off than they think when they sit down with you, but they just need that voice, someone to look through it, like yourself, Peggy, like yourself, Randy, to say, you're doing okay. How often does that happen?
Oh, Randy, I think you can. We had a client just recently. It's funny that you say that, Mark. She literally sat across from us with her husband crying that she thought her portfolio was, right, Rand, a nightmare. And we told her it's going to be okay. We are going to help you through this. And now, she is very happy. But to see her cry tears across from us saying, I don't have anything. What are we going to do here? How can you help me? We've done many tools that we've had, and we've now made her a much happier person so she can retire happy.
Yeah, think about that too, Mark. Going back to that husband and wife relationship, there are times where you mentioned about being a therapist. There are times where you can literally cut the air with a knife in the office when we start to have conversation and the husband basically is now starting to divulge the mistakes in which were made or the losses that have happened or certain things that have gone on. And next thing you know, the wife would turn to the husband and go, what did you just say?
We've seen that.
How much did we lose? And like the proverbial, what hits the fan quickly.
Yeah.
And it's, we got to basically, kind of quickly pivot.
And we help with that real quick.
And we help with that
we'll jump in there for him.
Saying,
be like,
listen,
oh no, it's okay.
Happen.
We've
can
had
fix
other
this
things
thing,
happen. Right.
I mean, listen.
When you said it was a boys' trip, you didn't say you were going to Atlantic City. What is happening?
Things do happen, right? People get caught in different downtimes and cycles, or they're hitting passive investments where they go up and, think they're multimillionaires and they ride the market right back down with no plan. But what we try to through the first appointment, what we really try to tell people is, or we literally show people is, we are different than the average advisor. We're going to do things a lot differently. Number one, we're going to use all the tools at our disposal. And I try to tell a lot of things in stories. And let me digress one more second.
Sure.
A lot of other reasons why people don't like to get together with advisors. It's almost like going to the doctor and all you hear is jargon. right? When I talk to my sister, she's a physician's assistant, and I say, I got a headache. She gives me every medical term possible. And I don't even want to hear what's wrong with me. I just want to know, should I take Advil or not? Right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. When people come, they feel intimidated that they're going to be talked to through the jargon in the industry, right? And I can sit here and talk about everything you want to talk about with regards to correlation and all this other garbage.
I think it's about listening, not telling my side of what I think should be done immediately. I think it's about absorbing for them the fears, the goals, the objectives, and let us help you and take a look into that. You need to listen to the client, not so much, talk all kinds of crazy stuff.
I think we explain it simpler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in simple terms, people understand it. We talk in stories. A lot of times we'll explain things in an entire story. We like to tell people we use the right tools for the job. And everybody goes, what does that mean? Well, if you had a bowl of soup in front of you and I gave you a spoon or a fork, which one would you pick up? Most likely you're going to pick up a spoon. It doesn't mean that the fork is a bad tool. It just means that it's not the most appropriate tool for the job to get most efficient nourishment to your mouth. So if I'm actually performing a financial duty, and I want to, let's just say, create a legacy, I'm certainly not going to try to put a round peg in a square hole by saying, well, let's invest all this money and hopefully when you die, it gets transferred to the kids. Well, let's just use the best tool for the job. Let's use life insurance because I can buy dollars for pennies and make sure that every single solitary one of those dollars goes tax-free to the grandkids or kids to the exact dollar amount in which you're looking for. So it's just those little stories that kind of get across to people. And again, it's just using the right tool for the job to get the right job done.
I like you said that. You said you can't invest on hope. Can't invest.
No, you can't.
Yeah. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisor services offered through Artemis Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Artemis Wealth Advisors is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Randolph A. Fisher, insurance license number 9616074, and Liberty Financial Group, LLC, and Peggy Fisher, national license number 189-42003 and 570-5833.